They said my music didn't belong here. Week after week, I played the songs my family raised me on, rhythms of pride, of roots, of freedom. Neighbors smiled, kids danced, except Karen. She called it un-American. She thought she could silence me with fines. But what she didn't expect, who would stand beside me? I bought my home 3 years ago. Nothing fancy, just a 2-bedroom house on a quiet cul-de-sac. Tree-lined streets, kids riding bikes, barbecues in the summer. The kind of place you think will stay peaceful forever. And for a while, it did. Every Saturday, I had a routine. I'd mow the lawn, sweep the porch, then put on some music while I worked in the yard. Not blasting, not obnoxious, just enough to carry a little rhythm through the street. My music wasn't just songs. It was culture. It was history. Afro beats, gospel, jazz, sounds that tied me back to family cookouts, church gatherings, and long drives with my dad humming along behind the wheel. Neighbors would pass by and smile. Some even tapped their feet or gave me a thumbs up. Kids riding bikes would stop at the curb and try to copy the dances they saw on TikTok. It was joy. And then, Karen moved in. Karen was the type who never smiled with her eyes. Mid-50s, bleach blonde hair pulled so tight it looked like it hurt, clipboard glued to her hand. She wasn't just a neighbor. She was the new HOA president. It didn't take long for everyone to learn what that meant. Holiday lights left up one day too long? Fine. Garbage cannot pulled in before 6 p.m.? Warning. Grass half an inch higher than regulation? Citation. At first, I kept my head down. But Karen, she noticed me. The first time, she walked by while I was washing my car with music playing. She frowned. That's loud. I turned it down slightly. Better. Her lips pressed thin. Better. But this is a quiet neighborhood. Maybe you should try more appropriate music. I froze. Appropriate. She smirked. Something American. And then she walked away. At first, I thought maybe I misheard her. Maybe she didn't mean it the way it sounded. But the following week, I found a letter taped to my door. Notice of violation, noise complaint, non-compliance with community standards. The fine? $200. I thought it was a mistake. Until the next Saturday. I kept the music softer than ever, barely background noise. But sure enough, Karen marched across the street, clipboard clutched like a sword. This is your second warning, she announced. Continued violations may result in legal action. I stared at her. Legal action? For playing music on my own property. It's not about music, she said, her eyes cold. It's about maintaining a community standard. Your kind of music doesn't fit. There it was. Not even subtle anymore. My jaw clenched. My kind of music? She didn't answer. Just scribbled something down and left. From then on, the pressure ramped up. Another letter. Another fine. This time, $500. Neighbors started whispering. Some looked away when I waved. A few came over quietly and told me they thought it was unfair, but no one wanted to get involved. Not against Karen. By the end of the month, the total owed fine stacked to nearly $2,000. And that's when I got the notice. Formal HOA hearing scheduled. Failure to comply may result in property lien. They wanted to take my home over music. The night of the HOA hearing, the clubhouse was packed. Karen sat at the head of the long table, flanked by a few board members. Her smirk said everything. She thought she'd already won. She banged a tiny gavel. We are here to address repeated violations by the resident of Lot 12. Excessive noise. Unapproved disturbances. Current fines, $2,000. Unless resolved, lien proceedings will commence. My hands tightened around the folder of letters I'd brought. With respect, this isn't noise. This is music. My music. And it's not against the bylaws. Karen's eyes gleamed. It violates community standards. It's un-American. The words dropped like a stone. Gasps fluttered through the crowd. Some neighbors shifted uncomfortably. But no one spoke. Until a deep voice boomed from the back. Not true. Every head turned. Mr. Thompson. Mr. William Thompson, my quiet neighbor 2 houses down. Retired Marine. A man who barely spoke beyond a polite nod at the mailbox. But now, he was walking to the front, shoulders broad, metals glinting faintly on his old leather jacket. He stopped beside me, facing Karen directly. You say his music is un-American? His voice carried authority, the kind that comes from battlefields, not clipboards. Lady, I've fought 22 years for this country. Lost friends for it. Buried brothers for it. And let me tell you, there's nothing more American than a man free to play the songs of his people. Karen blinked, flustered. This is a private HOA matter, sir. No. Thompson cut her off. This is a public matter. Because what you're doing isn't about rules. It's about racism. A murmur swept the room. Karen stammered. That's not true. I'm just enforcing standards. Standards? Thompson scoffed. Show me where in your bylaws it says you get to decide what kind of music is allowed. Show me. Karen shuffled papers, but her hands shook. She had nothing. And then Thompson did something none of us expected. He pulled out his phone, scrolled a moment, then hit play. The same Afro beats I played on Saturdays filled the room. Thompson smiled, then started to dance. Just a step, just a sway. But the sight of this gray-haired Marine moving to the rhythm lit up the room. Gasps turned to laughter, then claps. A few neighbors even joined in, tapping feet, nodding along. Un-American, Thompson said between steps. Feels pretty damn American to me. Karen's face flushed crimson. She slammed her clipboard down. This is ridiculous. Order. This is a violation of. No, Thompson thundered. This is freedom. The room erupted in applause. Phones came out. Neighbors recorded every moment. Karen sputtered, her power crumbling under the weight of community and truth. Finally, one of the board members, usually quiet, always compliant, spoke up. He's right. There's no bylaw against music. We can't enforce this. Another board member nodded. This entire process has been out of line. Karen tried again, voice shrill. You don't understand. If we don't enforce standards. Standards aren't racism disguised as rules, Thompson snapped. And just like that, it was over. Within a week, the fines vanished. The board rescinded every letter Karen had sent. Her reputation? Destroyed. Neighbors who'd been silent before started stopping by, thanking me quietly. We're sorry, one said. We should have spoken up sooner. Karen? She disappeared from the spotlight. Word was she was voted out of the HOA within the month. As for me, Saturday mornings became music mornings again, and every now and then, Mr. Thompson would wander over, lawn chair in hand. He'd sit, tap his foot, and sometimes, just sometimes, get up and dance again. The lesson? Real patriotism isn't about silencing others. It's not about uniforms, or rules written in ink, or the color of someone's skin. It's about freedom. The freedom to live, to speak, to sing, to play your music without fear. Karen thought power came from her clipboard, but real authority? It came from a man who had lived what freedom cost, and chose to defend it again, this time in a neighborhood clubhouse instead of a battlefield. And every time I hear my music drift across the street, I remember that night. The night a veteran stood up, danced with me, and proved once and for all, there's nothing more American than being yourself.